Hello and welcome. I'm Rik Glauert and here's what happened this week. People in Taiwan are mourning celebrity Barbie Hsu, who died from complications from the flu, aged 48. Her death has led to concerns over the severity of the virus and a rush to get vaccinated. Chelsea Wu has more on the story.
An outpouring of grief for Taiwanese actor Barbie Hsu, who died while traveling in Japan, aged just 48. Also known as Big S, she was known as a TV host in Taiwan and for her role in the hit drama Meteor Garden back in 2001. Her death has sent shockwaves through the public, especially among her longtime friends and colleagues from the entertainment industry.
心里面也是觉得很难过，很年轻，天妒红颜，10几年的同事，只能心中为他们祷告，加油！ 大 S 一路好走。
She died from complications from influenza that developed into pneumonia. While she contracted the virus in Japan, Taiwan is facing its worst flu outbreak in a decade, and Xi's death has led to a surge of people seeking vaccination.
一开始没有，就是不会想说哦有流感的那个通知就要去打疫苗。那但是因为有这个新闻，会觉得说，哎，好像要注意一下，因为流感其实可能并发症会蛮严重。
我阿孙呢就跟我讲说，哎，妈妈这个是阿嬷这个是大新闻呢，然后大家要小心呐。然后他跟我说他有打针。
早上我才知道有艺人因为这样，然后所以就过世，所以我想就尽快来施打。
Taiwan's Centers for Disease Control held an emergency press conference to address the flu outbreak, which has affected not just Asia, but also Europe and the Americas. Officials urged Taiwanese travelers to get vaccinated before heading abroad. While the public has taken Hsu's death from the flu seriously, not everyone can get government-funded flu vaccines. Many clinics have already run out, with only about 200,000 doses remaining nationwide.
疫苗的部分，每年流感是10月开始施打这样子啊，其实到2月、3月已经是施打的尾巴了这样子啊，所以疫苗大概也已经打得几乎都打得差不多了。
Barbie Hsu's death is a painful reminder of the flu's potential danger. And with flu cases on the rise and vaccine supplies running low, the Taiwanese public will have to act quickly to protect themselves from the outbreak. Ryan Wu and Chelsea Wu for TaiwanPlus.
Petitions have been submitted to recall politicians from the opposition Kuomintang. As I report, it shows the deep political divisions between the ruling Democratic Progressive Party and its rivals in the legislature. Tens of thousands of signatures delivered to Taiwan's Central Election Commission, with hopes of bringing about big political change here. It's the first step in a bid to recall lawmakers from the main opposition party, the Kuomintang or the KMT. Petition organisers say the party's legislators are not fit for office, with some accusing KMT lawmakers of working with China to subvert Taiwan society.
但中共和蓝白立委都忘了，台湾政治的主体不是政党，而是握有选票的公民。台湾的公民现在站出来说，我们是国家的主人，蓝白立委你们恶仆卖主。 想把我们的国家搞垮。
There is a big political divide here in Taiwan over how to deal with China, which claims the self-ruled island nation as part of its territory. The ruling Democratic Progressive Party, led by President Lai Ching-te, wants to keep China at arm's length, while opposition parties prefer closer ties with Beijing. It's a difference that has descended into turmoil since elections last year, when the DPP won the presidency but lost control of the legislature. It's led to brawls between lawmakers and protests on the street as the opposition passed controversial reform bills and slashed the central government budget. To escape this deadlock and shift the balance of power in its favour, DPP caucus whip Ke Jianming called for a mass recall bid to oust KMT lawmakers. Petitions now delivered include removing the party's caucus whip and Secretary-General from their seats.
但是我们也希望呢，当家不到事。新年应该欣欣向荣，而不是一个欣欣向霸哦。
Partisan clashes show no sign of easing here in Taiwan, and the KMT has launched its own bid to oust DPP lawmakers. recalling politicians just the latest battle in the country's fraught political war. Hsu and Rik Glauert for TaiwanPlus. Taiwanese Marines are being deployed to Taipei's Songshan airport as the military works to bolster the capital's defence. It comes as the country reshapes its strategy amid growing threats from China. Jaime Ocon reports.
Taiwan's military is revamping its defensive strategy for the capital, with a focus on strengthening security at Songshan Airport, the city's largest. On Wednesday, a military source revealed that Taiwan is deploying around 100 Marines to help boost security and protect the capital in the event of an attack from China.
Someone might actually try to take over from the airport down to the capital, and in that way take advantage of the geographic conditions of Taiwan, the positioning of neurologic centers of power, and the ability to reduce casualties and the possibility of escalation into a real fight.
China claims Taiwan as part of its territory and has threatened to invade the country to bring it under its control. This is why Taiwan's military has made coastal defense of its islands a key part of its defensive strategy. One of the key strategic areas is the Danshui River estuary, home to a major port. If China captured this area, its forces could then use the river to move troops further inland to Taipei and Songshan Airport. Last year, Taiwanese authorities intercepted several small boats piloted by Chinese defectors, making landfall and some undetected. That's why the military is reassessing its strategy.
之前就已经有这些快艇，它有尝试想要从淡水河口这边来去做一些突防，凸显的是今天我们在防御上面的话，可能必须要有一些调整。北部这一边，或许现在来看的话，会需要这海军陆战队的一个力量，它是快速反应部队。中共在这里有做一些快速突穿的状况了。
Along with moving personnel, Taiwan's military is also reforming the 66th Marine Brigade, exchanging tanks and artillery in favor of advanced, more mobile drones. But analysts are skeptical that the changes will have a big impact.
But at the same time, I think we have to be careful not to be too much carried away with the enthusiasm of this type of new units being established, because the acquisition and procurement and the introduction of new field capabilities that are more technologically advanced in terms of drawing upon new available capabilities doesn't necessarily translate into effectiveness.
Marines have already started training on how to protect Songshan Airport, and the military has yet to comment on if this move is permanent. Every year, roughly 10 million passengers pass through Songshan Airport, which sits in the heart of the capital, making it a vital artery for connecting Taiwan with the rest of the world. While there are no signs of any imminent attack, the military here is doing everything it can to protect its center of power under any circumstances. Andy Hsu and Jaime Ocon in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
China is putting fresh pressure on South Africa to distance itself from Taiwan, slapping sanctions on the chairman of South Africa's second largest party for a recent visit. As John Van Triest reports, some in Taiwan see this not just as a test of South Africa ties, but also a test of the Trump administration's resolve.
China says Ivan Meyer, chair of South Africa's Democratic Alliance Party, crossed a red line with a trip to Taiwan, and it's trying to make him pay a price. China claims Taiwan and objects to any official visits to Taiwan by foreign officials. Meyer and his family are now banned from China, a potentially awkward situation for the chair of South Africa's second biggest party, given China's status as South Africa's biggest trading partner and its clout across the African continent. But this is just one part of an ongoing pressure campaign aimed at pushing South Africa and Taiwan apart. Though South Africa has recognized China since 1998, it's agreed to let Taiwan keep up an unofficial liaison office, similar to the many other de facto embassies Taiwan has around the world. China has decided that arrangement's time is up. In an apparent response to Meyer's sanctioning, the South African government's now repeating a demand it first made last year, that Taiwan move its office out of the capital, Pretoria. The new deadline is the end of March, and the office could also face downgrading in status from liaison office to a mere trade office. Taiwan's foreign ministry says it's already responding.
外交部长林佳龙于接获外管通报后，第一时间再度召集应变小组，讨论因应方式， 并在年假期间与国内外相关同仁随时保持联系。同时，也指示亚非司司长贺忠义立即召见南非新任驻台代表，表达我政府严正关切。
There is opposition from some corners of South Africa's political sphere, notably from other members of Meyer's Democratic Alliance. MP Emma Louise Powell has said the party will oppose any attempt to, as she put it, evict Taiwan's office. And the Inkatha Freedom Party previously voiced concern about what impact forcing Taiwan's office to move could have on the nearly 3 decades of unofficial ties Taiwan has developed with South Africa. Back in Taiwan, though, some see this diplomatic tussle as about more than just Taiwan and South Africa. There are even suggestions from some analysts this could be about testing the waters with a new Trump administration. How will the U.S., up to now Taiwan's security guarantor, react?
台湾这样的议题啊，是否是川普政府所非常关切的？愿意为台湾出来，这个抵抗南非的压力，这要有待观察。
If this analysis is right, the fight over Taiwan's South Africa office could turn into one more piece in the larger rivalry between the world's 2 biggest powers. John Su and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
Driftwood has become a problem on Taiwan's east coast. Typhoons and earthquakes have caused large pileups of wood along the shore. But local researchers have found some innovative ways to turn the wood into useful products. Chris Gorin reports.
In Hualien County on Taiwan's east coast, mountains of driftwood have been piling up along the shore. It's the result of a string of earthquakes and typhoons that have hit the region over the last year. The local government has encouraged the public to collect larger pieces of wood for use in furniture or art. But these smaller pieces, which normally could be turned into charcoal, present a special challenge.
那这些漂流木因为已经浸过海水了，如果再直接把它拿去做去化，也就碳化的过程当中，里面含盐分，那可能对于我们的这个文化的设施跟设备造成一些损坏。
But Taiwan's Industrial Technology Research Institute and Hualien's Donghua University have teamed up to tackle the timber turmoil. The driftwood is crushed and put into a gasifier, where it can generate a flammable biofuel. The remaining charcoal material, known as biochar, can then be used as an ingredient in planting soil.
这些漂流木本身的这些矿物成分，镁、钾、磷、铁都又恢复到它原本的矿物形态。那它跟里面残存的这些生物碳结合起来，正好让土壤的综合起了一个很大的作用。
Beyond the farm, the driftwood biochar can also be used on the shore. A combination of concrete and biochar can be 3D printed into artificial reefs.
不过目前我们初步来看，它的成长是比一般的鱼胶是好一些，以成长率来讲，因为它里面含有碳，碳也是一种那个生物所必需的一些元素，所以可能是因为这个关系，目前可能是关系呢，它会长得稍微好一些。
Researchers have begun installing the biochar reefs off the shore of Hualien County. With the clever use of biochar on both land and sea, scientists in Taiwan are using innovation to turn the byproduct of natural disasters into fuel for natural solutions. Chris Ma and Chris Gorin for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching Here's What Happened. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website or our social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, check out these Cape vultures swooping into their new home at the Los Angeles Zoo. This exhibit gives visitors a closer look at the endangered birds of prey. I'm Rik Glauert. Take care, and we will see you next week.
In the face of adversity, the power of truth.
A roadmap for a just and open world, charted by the freest country in Asia.
Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
TaiwanPlus News, a voice of freedom in Asia.